were actually on HAC already. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I know obviously, right? You see that, but it's like, okay, I have to try this out for myself so I can really see that it is what they say it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, whoever's watching this, whoever's listening to this, like, you won't be disappointed. That's all I gotta say.
Hey everyone, welcome into the program. I am really super excited today. We've got a great guest. Carlos Urizar is here with me, and we're going to talk about what he's doing and what his experience has been like with Arturo Johnson Consulting. In order to sell more life insurance, you need an automated, predictable system that works. Hey, Yuri, welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for spending this time with me here today. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Earl, for having me on. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Love having you young guys on, to show us old cats how to really get these things moving along the way. But I mean, Carlos, how long have you actually been in the insurance industry? How long have you been selling life insurance?
Industry, I'd probably say about going on 3.5 years.
Wow.
I was at a practice company, but yeah.
Where did this come from? I'm hearing the practice company thing like over and over again. It's like, I guess because we don't want to say who we were with before. So it's almost like it's a dig, right? It's almost like I moved on because the practice company really wasn't giving me what I needed. So no, that's funny though. So what kind of made you even want to go into life insurance? What kind of brought you in?
Well, to be honest, before the life insurance industry, I was on pursuit. I went to college. I got a couple of degrees to become a state trooper, like police officer.
Oh, wow.
And going into law enforcement, right? So I majored in that, got certified in firearms and all that stuff, right? And just kind of along through the background process, I was like, obviously that's a delay in itself, right? Especially for any state agency at the end of the day. So from there, I was like, you know what? Why not? Because I've always had a passion ever since I was a kid. And I mean, you probably hear this over and over about protecting families and having a passion. But ever since I was young, I can remember that I've always had a passion for helping people. Like, even if it didn't benefit me at all, but just being able to help someone, honestly, it's like that good feeling knowing you did a good deed, right?
Right.
So I was in the process, backgrounds, obviously that took a while. So along the lines, I was like, you know what? Why not try to make, something? I've always had that, I guess that kind of business mindset. Like, I've always wanted to kind of be my own boss and, do my own thing, work my own schedule, have my own freedom. So that's when I was introduced into the financial services or life insurance industry, right? Went about that and then started with the practice company, was there for a couple months, like 6-8 months, pandemic hit. And I was like, man, I need to change ASAP.
Yeah. Was it, the pandemic, it either made you or broke you. A lot of agents, really just left the industry because they couldn't kind of transition to working more remotely as opposed to face, which we weren't able to do. Even though some people were saying we were essential workers, my wife was like, yeah, you may be essential, but you're not bringing it back here. So it's like going out there and, we got kids and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of different challenges, happened during COVID, which, you really learn who you are as an individual and how you confront and face those challenges that do come up, with that. So, I'm super glad that you're still, in the industry, and doing so well. With being in the industry over the past couple of years, what have been some things that maybe you were struggling with that was like, man, I got to find a way to get over this hurdle because this is what's happening right now?
Yeah, 100%. So what it is, I believe the struggles that not just myself, but I think that I feel and I know that the majority of us that go through when we're first new agents going through, the business for the first time, it's like, how can I put my money or my finances, I would say, exactly to where I can so I can get the most return out of it? And then also, how can I be more time effective where, for whatever reason, instead of spending 6, 7, 8 hours, whether it's on the phones or with appointments, make that condensed to where I can run the same amount of appointments or do the same amount of production in a shorter time.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, basically working smart and hard, at the same time, because obviously this is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it is definitely one of the most rewarding things. When you get it, you get it, and you just kind of reap the benefits of that. You've been with Arturo Johnson Consulting now. You came to us back in April?
Correct. Hmm.
Was that so? Just really a month and a half, maybe not even. That you've been here. What was the thing that was like that made you even look at what it is that we're doing? Like, what were you dealing with at the time, and what made you even take a look at what we had?
So what really attracted me at the end of the day, and obviously I'm pretty sure we hear about this, all the time, and you probably get this all the time, Earl, right?
Hmm.
And Arturo as well. It's needed I needed to make a change in the sense of, the type of leads, the quality and quantity that I had, right? I was just throwing a bunch of money out there, just pretty much
Yeah.
buying everything we can. And obviously we're in our field, right? A lot of people call us like lead junkies, or we refer to ourselves as lead junkies,
Yeah,
right? We'll
definitely.
just kind of pick up whatever lead we can just to kind of hit that number, that production, or just try out a new lead for what have you not. So I was actually told by one of one of our business partners. Actually, I heard about Arturo Johnson, right? And I kind of had seen the ads and all that on Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of heard of them. I saw a testimonial video, and I saw some good reviews, especially from the company that I'm with right now.
Hmm.
And then I was like, okay, cool. I'll kind of check them out, look into it. So obviously, we put a call together, spoke with Arturo, and just kind of went from there. And honestly, like, the more I started looking into it, the more I started investigating and doing my own research. I'm like, dude, this is too good to be true. Like, I tried all
Yeah.
different types of lead vendors. I tried all different types of leads. I've thrown a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money, and I've made a lot of money again. Right.
Wow.
Um, but at the end of the day, I'm like, it blew my mind. And with obviously, the production, and we'll get into that a bit, right? It's just the cost per lead, and the cost and the margins. You keep more at the end of the day. I truly believe.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Just in regards to the cost as far as the leads go. I mean, are you running mostly final expense leads, or is that kind of the thing? Or tell me
Correct.
about that.
Yeah,
Okay,
final expense.
so brand new Facebook leads are running you what per lead
Honestly, I'd say
from
anywhere
when you were
between.
buying them from like lead vendors? What was that cost
Oh,
like?
okay. I was
Yeah,
about to say,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Before, I mean, your Facebook final expense average minimum $30 per lead, minimum.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then you have so minimum of $30 per lead, and then if you're buying them from lead vendors, you have a minimum buy, right?
correct. Hmm.
So what is that? 20, 30 leads you have to buy at a time?
Minimum with the most minimum vendor that I was working with, it was 30.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. $900
yeah, give or take. Yep.
for 30 leads.
Yeah.
Wow. $900 for 30 names and numbers. And I mean, I used to do it. I was buying leads
Yeah.
at one point when I was selling life insurance, right? So I understand that. But back when I was still selling life insurance, I think the leads were only 25. So they've gone up a little bit,
Hmm.
even since I've stopped purchasing leads. Was that to you before you came with us? Was that just like normal, like not even a thought? It was just like, this is what I'm going to have to do type of deal.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm like, obviously we were still producing, production was still being made with whatever lead source I was using. Because again, I'm not, trying to put myself on any pedestal at all, but I'm a
Hmm.
grinder. Like, you throw any type of lead at me, like, and it's like, I heard this from another business partner, that a lead is not dead until they're 6 feet under the ground, right? And I
Ah,
quote
I
one of my
love
business
that.
partners for that, right? And I think you know her, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, it's true. Like, a lead. Like, we're buying leads, not sales. So you just kind of have to work through them and rehit them and whatnot. But the opportunities that you have here with AJC, with the leads, and the amount of leads and quantity, honestly doesn't compare to what we were doing before.
Wow. I mean, I got to ask you this here too, because, all right, you weren't just, or I'll just ask, how many, how many leads were you buying in a month with, these old lead vendors that you were doing? Like, how much were you spending in a month?
Minimum a week, minimum about 1,500
Wow.
minimum to hit your goals, to hit your numbers, production, and all that. Yeah,
Now, did you
1,300.
did you have a mix, or was it did you just do all brand new like final expense leads from lead vendors, or did you like buy cheaper leads like from a CRM from your IMO or something like that? Kind of explain that to me a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, it was a mix at the end of the day, and it's like you never really want to put all your eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
right? As they say, you want to make sure you have different lead vendors, different avenues of leads at the end of the day. So obviously, this lead, for whatever reason, this couple days, this week, kind of, dies down, or the quality isn't as good as the week before. You also have other lead vendors that are coming in. So at the end of the day, that production is still met, you're still hitting your goals. But yeah, I used to buy, obviously the Facebook final expense, $30 a
Mm-hmm.
lead. But the majority, I'd probably say about 90% was brand new Facebook final expense, and the other were like CRM and like a couple
Yeah.
months old lead, and just kind of a mix around there.
Gotcha. So when you're doing all this stuff here, and I can tell you're a grinder. You're excited. You want to make sure that you hit those numbers and make those sales. But obviously, I mean, you spending 6K a month on leads, basically on average. That's cutting into your profits. That's cutting into your commission. Now, obviously, as a business owner, we know we're going to have some sort of overhead. We know that comes with the territory. And in our business, if you don't have leads, you don't have a business, right? So you
Correct.
have to have some sort of expense. You were spending six. You came to AJC in April. What are you spending now, or what did you spend in May?
In May, 4,000.
Wow. And these were all. What's your average cost per lead?
Average cost per lead now, I'd probably say about $2 to 25 cents, between $2.50. It varies at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But average, let's just say 2.25.
But it's not 30.
It's not 30, that's for sure. Yeah.
As it was before. And I see the smile on your face. I'm grinning about it too, because I mean, we're hearing this more and more, and this is one of the benefits that we bring to the table to show people how to do this whole thing. How was it for you as far as difficulty goes to kind of come into our system and put this thing together? How difficult was that for you to do?
Honestly, Earl, to answer, truthfully and honestly, like it wasn't difficult at all. I mean, like anything else, when you first start any lead vendor, your first week, maybe 2 weeks, it's kind of like a learning curve. And it's kind of like, you're creating the campaign, you're creating the funnel. It takes its time to actually,
Mm-hmm.
get those process leads to come through. But it's just a learning curve and a waiting game like anything else. Doesn't matter what lead vendor you go to. That's your first week,
Yeah.
maybe week and a half is always going to be like that, right? That's just the way the game goes. But after that, it's just like, even though that learning curve within that week that I had, first coming on board again
Mm-hmm.
with anyone, right? The leads were still pouring in, right? It's just like it fell on me, and it falls on each and every individual
Mm-hmm.
to, just kind of go through that learning curve as fast as you can. And it's just like, don't think, just do. You already know what you're doing. We already know what we're doing,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like you worked with so many other lead vendors, you work with so many other leads. This is just kind of a different, a new lead source per se.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a lead at the end of the day. It's final expense.
Yeah. Absolutely. What were you able to? I mean, you came in April, so you've been with us at least a full month of May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you feel about what you were able to generate as far as AP goes in the month of May?
Oh, I mean, I'm super happy about it. I mean, the bank deposits don't lie, right?
Well,
They're there.
yeah.
So it's honestly, it's a blessing, to be honest. At the end of the day, from what the margins I had before, with the type
Right.
of lead source I was with before, to
Mm-hmm.
now, I mean, it's there. It's there. The numbers are there, and it's just been a blessing. That means you keep more at the end of the day, and you can
Yeah.
obviously work different funnels, different campaigns, or other business expenses you can pour that into.
Yeah. With the leads that you've been getting, obviously the lead cost has gone down. So like you already said, it's not cutting so much into the profits that you're making. How are you feeling since we've shown you how to develop literally your own leads that no one else sees but you? You're not going to a third party. This is you. They're coming directly to you. What has that quality been like for you, and the responses that you're getting from the leads that we've shown you how to develop on your own?
I'm gonna be honest, Earl. The responses are pretty much the same
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
running those, $30 final expense leads,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like at the end of the day, like the families know the request they made. The individual knows
Yeah.
they made a request, right? They're going to be reached out to. We're going to
Hmm.
talk about final expense, whatever, burial insurance, life insurance, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
right? But the experience that I've had, honestly, is second to none. And it's just there. I mean, the pudding is there, right? Like, there's no comparing, to be honest. Like, you keep more at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The leads are directly for what the request they made, whether it's final
Hmm.
expense, whatever it is, right? They made them. They know we're gonna call, and once we get them on the phone, they know what it's about. Oh yeah, I made the request. Yeah, you put down your date of
Yeah.
birth, put down this information. Yep, it is what it is. Okay, well, let's go into it. What's your age and health like, right? Boom, boom,
Exactly.
boom. Just jump into it.
You
Yeah.
know, and I've said this to people too, on my own calls. It's like, I don't care where people get their leads from. I have no dog in that fight at all. But when it comes down to a couple of things, what you're paying for the lead, what I mean, people I think need to understand, especially when they're buying leads from a lead vendor, they're getting them for $2.25, but they're marking them
Yeah.
up. So they're wealthy off of doing something. And I'm going to say it just this blunt. They're becoming wealthy because so many people won't take the time to learn how to do it themselves, or think they're not, or maybe even think they don't have the capability of doing it, which is unfortunate, with that. I mean, you've watched probably a ton of our videos, before you came in. How did you actually find us? Had you been watching us for a while, like through our own Facebook ads, or how did you even come into our ecosystem?
Yeah, great question. And I was hoping you asked that, Earl.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've been watching obviously some videos. I've seen your ads on Facebook and just kind of all around online. And then again, as I mentioned, one of my business partners actually had mentioned it, and just briefly mentioned it. And then obviously we got a call together with Arturo, started, doing my own, research. And I found out others that were actually in the company that I'm in right now
Hmm.
were actually on AJC already. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I know obviously, right? You see that, but it's like, okay, I have to try this out for myself so I can really see that it is what they say it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, whoever's watching this, whoever's listening to this, like, you won't be disappointed. That's all I gotta say. You won't be disappointed, and
Wow.
it is as they say it is.
Which is funny. It's like you've watched some of my videos and stuff like that. And it's like, it's always the last question that I ask. It's like, someone is going to be watching you now. They're going to be
Yeah.
in the valley of decision. What would your advice be to that person? Just your honest advice. It's like a brand new agent coming in, or an agent that's been in for a couple of years. They're watching this stuff from AJC. They're seeing the Facebook ads. What would your advice be to them?
Great question, Aaron. I was about to just touch up on that a bit there,
Hmm.
but yeah, the main advice that I would give is, like, just as you touched up on a little bit ago, Earl, is I was on the sidelines, for a couple months. I was on the sidelines just listening in, just kind of seeing if this is what you say it is, or what AJC or Arturo kind of just,
Hmm.
really set it out to be. And I regret it. And, obviously the longer you stay on the sidelines, the longer, time goes by, obviously you see months and months and months or weeks or whatever the case is at each
Hmm.
individual time. But I'm going to be honest, I wish I would have jumped on before, right? Would have jumped on before, would have got, obviously higher production, would have got everything up and running. But for plainly, any advice for anyone watching this is like, if you're new in the industry, if you're new in the business, and you're like, you know what, I know that our business, any business, I truly believe that in any business, specifically in our business, leads are the bloodline of our business.
Oh yeah.
Without leads, you ain't going anywhere. That's
Yeah.
just plain simple, right? So many people at the end of the day don't have leads. And without leads, I mean, it's not going to work out. I'm going to be very honest. Without leads, this
Yeah.
business is not going to work out. And the thing about this here, I would say, the amount of leads, the quality and quantity that you get here is second to none. I would definitely recommend jumping on, going all on board, and then the numbers will speak for themselves.
Wow. Well, man, well, Carlos, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Love your energy. So happy for the success that you're having. But, we're just part of the equation. You're the guy out there doing the work. You're the one making it happen. It's like we just provided a tool. You've grabbed that tool and you've gone all in on it. And that's what I really appreciate, because your success is yours, period, flat out. But definitely want to thank you for your time you spent with me here today. And, man, just wishing you the best of luck.
I appreciate that, Earl. And I'll leave off with this if I can. This last
Yeah.
note here is that the community that AJC has, honestly, again, I would say it's up there. It's second, and it's an amazing community. Like, you literally have people that have no benefit at all from it. Like, they don't benefit in any way, shape, or form, and they're out there. I'm talking top producers, right? That are doing high numbers, very, very high numbers, right? They're out there just like, you know what? Hey, I would recommend doing this, or giving you advice, pro tips that's making it work for them that can work for you.
Yeah, well, man, once again, Carlos, thanks so much for being here. Definitely appreciate it. And to you, the listening audience, the viewer, thank you. Check out the links that are in the description. We've got some great information there. And if you want to talk to us, we can talk to you about how we can help get you the same information and the same tools that Carlos has. So until next time, you take care, and we'll see you on the next video. In order to sell more life insurance, you need an automated, predictable system that works.